didn't do a show, let's see, Sunday or Monday. Wow. It was quite a different experience. So let's get right into the MLS Las Vegas stats for June the 1st and see what has been going on. What has been going on. All right, let's see here. All right, here goes. So we have 19 days of inventory. Isn't that exciting? How wonderful is that? I'm happy, happy, happy. 386 condos, 2,342 single family homes. My goodness, that's fantastic. Let's see if I have May 29th. We have 4 more than we had. No, 12. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we have 14 more than we had on Friday. So, wow, that's because y'all been listing. You listed 146 homes. That's exciting, although you put 185 under contract. So there must be some other things going on, like Jimmy always says, some expireds or some things that fell out of escrow and all those kind of things. So the numbers don't always calculate to the T because of those other extenuating circumstances that occur in our market, as we know. So we, for the month of May, so we averaged 133 homes per day. We sold 4,137 homes, which is incredible. We didn't beat April and March, however, but that's okay. That's okay. Our market's fine. And what we're seeing, I was listening to Brian Buffini's, he had a podcast, and at the end of the podcast, because now I think he's doing it live on Facebook as well, he talked about, or some of his callers that he had online, said that they see that the first-time homebuyer market is softening because in different parts of the country, I guess it's very aggravating. I mean, I know it's aggravating here and frustrating, I should say, for first-time homebuyers, but they're kind of waning a little bit, and I think interest rates have crept up a little bit for them as well. So, and maybe some of the loan programs, I'm not sure. I'm going to further look into it, but I think that's what we're seeing, that those first-time home buyers aren't as out there as they were. So, $1 million stats. Yeah, we've sold 633 this year. Last year, and that's year-to-date May 31st, right? 2021. Last year, all of last year, we only sold 618. So we're way ahead on the $1 million homes. We have 404 available. So of those 2,342 homes, 404 of them are $1 million homes. So that's a healthy percentage of the market. And we're, of course, ahead of last year. And well, I don't know, everybody. What do you think? Do you think we'll double what we did last year? I mean, if we're into May and we've already done what we did last year, it's pretty maybe that we might double it. But I caution everybody, because I think that June is the time to get rolling and get your act together for what you're going to do in the next 7 months, because we have Thanksgiving and Christmas, and sometimes I think we really only have 6 months. You've got to do today, these next 30 days, whatever is going to carry you through July through December. And John and I have always planned our business that way. And this year we're way ahead of where we thought we would be, which is wonderful. I told John, just chill. You don't need to go, knock yourself out right now. You can just do some other things that we need to do as broker owners and things like that. So hopefully he'll heed my advice, but we'll see. Anyway, let's move on here. Lots of things going on in the news, and I'm going to get to that in a second. So hopefully this is going to work for me. Kane's not here to do it for me, so I'm going to put this up here, and I think I have to solo it. So you know me, I'm always worried that something's going to occur here, so I always have to check Facebook to make sure that what I think I'm doing. So hold on. Brian Buffini was talking about Phil Mickelson. Phil Mickelson just won the PGA Championship, and he he has come in number 2 16 times, and he's had 6 wins in his career of the PGA tour, the championships that make a difference, that add to the stats. Gosh, I can't believe I've been out of golf, since Tiger doesn't play all the time. I don't watch it as much. But anyway, I did watch Phil Mickelson, and oh my heavens. He said, he's 51. He's going to be 51 years old in a couple days. I always remember June's his birthday because they used to play, and they still play, another major tournament. And a lot of times it falls on Father's Day. So anyway, and sometimes his Father's Day and his birthday fell on the same day. I think I'm correct on that. But anyway, what he was saying is, I'm 51 years old and I'm just getting better. He says, I've had a lot of challenges, and I know personally that he has some arthritic issues, arthritis that he has, but he has overcome that by helping himself physically. He has lost 22 pounds, and he says he's more flexible than he's ever been, and he's looking forward to, the next chapter of his life. And he started it out with a win. And then Brian goes on, Brian Buffini is talking about homeostasis and how things have changed. There's a lot of people out there that are scared. People are scared, like what's the future? I mean, I think we all feel like we're in uncharted territories right now. And we are, we really are. I mean, with so many things going on. So, I mean, even the market, for heaven's sakes, right? So let me see if I can watch myself and see if this is going to work. Let me turn let's see. Got everything set so I can do a test. Okay, I'm here at home. I don't have my cane with me to help me. So let me see if I can do this. Breathe, Ruthie. Okay, I got that. Now I think I have to go to my screen. This is where I get really out of kilter here. Okay, let's see if we can do this. And let's see if you can hear me. I got this far. Let's see. Can you hear me? Oh my gosh, I can hear myself. I guess this is good. Okay, so I listened to this Tom Ferry podcast a couple times because he's saying that we need to step up our game and get listings. And he put some tips up for us, and I am going to go over them today. So tip number 1, keep your data. So here's a gal that he brought up. Her name's Glenda. And Glenda has done her homework, and she is marketing what she's doing versus what her competition is doing. And she's saying that if you work with me, your house will be on the market 32 days versus other agents' average homes are on the market 96 days, which means you save. Now she's assuming, let's say it's a $500,000 house. This is for the sake of demonstration, of course. You save over $5,000 in mortgage payments. And if your home is worth $700,000, you save $7,000 in mortgage payments. And if your house is worth $1 million, you save $10,000 in mortgage payments. Then she goes on to say the sales price to the list price. And Glenda says that she gets 98.2% of her list price, while her other agents are 94.1%. Now, what is she saying to you there? She's a great negotiator. And I'm sure she puts that in her spiel. And she says, so you make $20,000 more based on the average sale price to list price of $500,000. You make $28,000 more based on the average sales price to the list price if you're in the 700,000s. And you make $40,000 more based on the average sales price to list price if your home is $1 million. So working with me equals more money in your pocket. You save $25,000 if your house is worth $500,000. You save $35,000 if it's worth $700,000, and you put more money in your pocket to the tune of $50,000 if your house is worth $1 million. So you make $25,000 more if it's a $500,000 house. You make $35,000 more if it's a $700,000 house, and you make $50,000 more if it's $1 million house. So you all should look back on your data, I mean, the MLS has everything. It's anything you want, you can find in the MLS to do this for yourself. And if you haven't done this in the past, like I said, it's June 1st. Start doing this now and keep track of your data, because and it keeps you accountable to yourself as well. Or if you have a coach, or if you're accountable to your broker or to your teammates or whatever, this really helps. I love this. And then number 2, Tom says, so let's say that you sold a house in a neighborhood. Get a testimonial from your sellers. So a letter to your former neighbors, a letter to their former neighbors as an endorsement of your services. And guess what? You write it, they approve it, you mail it. Wow. So all they have to do is confirm that, yes, you can do this. You can do this, Karen. You can do this, Frank. And so if you've sold a house, send this to all the people in the neighborhood. Okay. Now, then what are you going to do? You're going to ask them. You're going to call them. You're going to say, hopefully you got my letter. And I was just wondering, at what price would you consider selling your home? You got to ask everybody. You got to ask the question, because they're wondering, well, what's my home worth? That's going to be their next question. We talked about this when I did the circle prospecting. I guess it was about a week or so ago. That's really powerful. So tip number 3, name your price. Who cares what Zillow thinks? Now, Tom Ferry says, just put that up there on your social media, on your Instagram, on your reels, on your stories. He suggests doing it on your stories. Name your price. Who cares what Zillow thinks? How much do you think your house is worth? Do you want to know how much your house is worth? Whatever, put your own flair to it. And then you can also put this on your website. You can do a little video and just real quick and stand in front of a nice house. Listen to this, everybody. Why don't you go to the farm? You've got to have a farm. I always tell you, you have to have a farm. And there's so many reasons. Here's another reason. Go to your farm, walk down the street and say, name your price. What do you think your house is worth? And who cares what Zillow thinks? Text me, call me, email me. I'll get you a market research on your home immediately. Bingo. And then upload that to the front page of your website. Now, if you have an agent formula website, you can put that video right up there on your first front page. So if you don't have an agent formula website, then hopefully you have an IT person who can do that for you. And then twice a month is how many times you should put it on your stories and your Instagram stories. And then once a month, you should send a little postcard to your farm. Name your price. Who cares what Zillow thinks? Want to know what your house is worth? I can have a market research analysis for you done immediately. Call, text, or email me. And there you go. And then the other thing that he doesn't put here that I would add to this is direct message people. If you have your farm, if you have their Facebook, if you know them on Facebook, you friended them on Facebook, send that out to them. And then there's also a lot of text programs out right now. Communities one, that you can put your farm's phone numbers in there and text them. Same thing, but get it out there. Get it out there. So let's look at this. Let's switch over from your farm to investors. So there's 138 million homes in the United States. Guess what? 21 million of those homes are investment properties. And it goes on to talk about Canada, Australia, Europe, but the one we're concerned about is in the United States, there's 21 million investment properties. And why are we saying that? Well, number one, you want to send mailers to these people and say, what's going on with this? What's going on with this market is crazy, right? And you want to ask them if they have considered selling their investment property because of the increases there's been since they purchased it. And so, of course, you want to know when they purchased this when you say this, and you want to give them some idea of what their house might be worth. But to get an exact idea, they need to let you know, okay? And then you have to make the calls and again, direct message them on social media, okay? What's going on in this market? Wow. Now, you can follow this up by a letter, and you can say, I hope this finds you and yours doing well. I've been searching for a home for my clients. And you put their names in there. They have 2 children, a dog, and desperately want to live in the community. I saw that you own 123 Main Street as an investment property. So I'm curious, with prices peaking on an election cycle or other details, would you be open to selling the property? Wow. We can assist your tenants in finding a new place. And of course, I work with lots of investors on trading through 1031 tax exchanges. And that's a little hint as to where we're headed here. Would you let me know? Even a text saying no, so I can let my clients know, would be greatly appreciated. And then you put your phone number there so that they can text you. I mean, they'll communicate with you. How great is that? So it's easy to find out with your title company who the investors are, right? Because they're the people that aren't living at the same address as the home. So if you're new in the business, talk to your title people about all the things they can do for you, because they can do a lot. Now, here's something that I'm not getting political, but here's what the administration is saying, that we could have a retroactive tax. It would be retroactive to his April, I think, 28th announcement. And he's saying capital gains would go from 23.8% to 43.4% for income over $1 million. Capital gains, wow. From 23% to 43%, that's doubling. And it'll raise $320 billion over the next 10 years. But the thing here is that you want to perhaps let your investors know that you're contacting, that this is a possibility. So if you've sold investment properties to your buyers, you want to make your calls. You want to let them know that this is a possibility, and it's becoming more possible every day until we find out what he's going to do. But making it retroactive was, oh my gosh, I could hardly believe that. So you're going to make your calls, and you're going to script. Here's a script. Hi, my name is Ruthie. I sent you a letter about your property on 123 Main Street. Did you receive it? As you watch values rise, have you considered trading that property or cashing out? Would it be helpful to get an updated valuation on the home? I can send it to you via text or email. Which is better? So that's the old Ben Franklin, which is better? While I'm doing it, do you own any other investment properties you'd like new evaluations on? So this is a friendly call, just because they're an investor, you've got their phone number, and you want to find out if they would be interested in knowing how much equity they have in that home. So there again, another listing strategy. Then for all your past clients, please, please, please keep them informed on their home's value, and send them a letter, send them something, and with a little note in there that says, hey, Nancy, just wanted to keep you up to date on your home value, Tom. And then you want to follow up with a phone call, because you want to say, oh my gosh, Nancy, congrats. We have a massive supply and demand issue right now. I'm just curious, have you had any thoughts about moving? Because your home has increased $100,000 since we purchased it in 2015 for you. So you might be wanting to have more room for more dogs, or less room for less kids, or maybe you're planning on having more children, whatever it is. Come on, Nancy, help me out here. Do you think that you would have any thoughts about moving, or know someone else who might? There you go again, the mayor campaign. I threw that in there. Tom Ferry doesn't really use that, but combine all these people's, they're coaches and they're trying to help everybody do more business. And so we should combine them. Make your calls. I think that's the message, right? And Tom Ferry says, what will you improve upon to and or add to attract more sellers? And these are just some things, and you can review this. I'll probably put these slides in the group, but they're not really, I'll put them in there, but I put his name everywhere because, I don't want to get in trouble for using his material. But normally, like, let's see, where am I going here? Normally people want you to use their stuff. So let me solo myself back on, and I'm here. I did have something else I wanted to show you in regards to, and I hopefully this will work. Let's see, solo myself off. Okay, let's hide that. All right, and I'm trying to make my shows 15 minutes. It's really hard, but I wanted to show this to you, and hopefully this will work.
Meantime, the administration warning investors a higher percentage on a proposed new capital gains tax may very well be retroactive, guys. You ready for that? Robert Frank joins us with the latest. Robert.
Good morning, Andrew. President Biden officially calling for the largest capital gains tax increase in history to be retroactive. His budget release Friday calls for the tax hike to take effect April 28th, 2021. So that was more than a month ago. If this passes and you sold stocks or a business or property after April 28th of this year, you could owe back taxes. Biden proposing to nearly double the capital gains rate from 23.8% to 43.4% for income over $1 million. Treasury also giving its first revenue projections for that capital gains increase and the elimination of the step up in basis, saying the two combined would generate about $320 billion in revenue over 10 years. But they're only projecting about $1.2 billion this year from that increase. Some CEOs and investors and tax groups already opposing the idea of a retroactive tax. Goldman Sachs CEO David Solomon saying it would create extra anxiety and extra uncertainty. There have been retroactive income tax increases before, but never have we had a retroactive capital gains tax increase. Treasury saying that this was needed to prevent investors from avoiding the tax by selling before that tax hike takes effect, Andrew. So all the planning that people were hoping to do or planning to do basically is null and void, because if it goes through as proposed, it would start April 28th.
Okay, if you're a betting man, Robert, what do you think? Retroactive or not? This is the huge question. Does it pass? Does it get through Congress? Is the rate too high? And is the retroactivity clause too much for the moderate Democrats? Maybe it's a 5% risk. Maybe it's a 50% risk. But now that it's officially on the table, it is a risk for investors. And what do you think the chances is that it's an April date versus an end of this year date?
Yeah, look, there have been some moderate Democrats that have already said we don't think it should be retroactive. We believe it should start January 1st, 2022, even if it passes this summer or this fall. So April 28th, the reason they did that date is because that's the day Biden announced the proposal. Therefore, he said, we are giving you notice as of the date we announced it.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.
So that's some information, and you might want to watch it. And when you're talking to people, your investors especially, they might want, they be interested in that. And that 1031 is, especially if they got into that investment property with the 1031. So study up on that and have a wonderful day, And tomorrow we have other great things to talk about. So I will see you tomorrow. We have no classes this week except for social media. We do. Let me see if I can show this. Let's hide that guy. Okay. So we have a social media class from 1 to 3:30 on Thursday. We have our Buffini class from 1 to 3 on Friday. And then our next CE class is next Monday, and it is Do You Work for Your Client? And this is really, really a good class with this crazy market that we have. And just like Brian Buffini says, adapt, adjust and adapt, because it doesn't look like this market's going to change very much. Looks like prices are going to continue to edge up a little bit, and the supply and demand doesn't look like that's changing, except for the first-time home buyers. And depending on what this tax proposal, what happens with that, that may add a whole nother, I don't know, people might be selling. If he doesn't make it retroactive and he says it'll be effective January 1, 2022, that could mean a lot more activity going on in our world. I love you all. Have a wonderful day, and stay safe.